Okay, hi guys. Well, Fabric, thanks for coming. Sorry, I got a little bit of a late start today. I think over COVID, people got used to not being anywhere on time, and it's hard to go back to going places and being there and being in person and everything. So thanks for coming, and we're going to go ahead and get started now. So I'm going to introduce, before we get started, I'm going to introduce you to Fabric and what we do here. This is new for you, in case you've never been here before. My name is Angela Johnson, and I'm the co-founder of Fabric. And Fabric actually stands for the Fashion and Business Resource Innovation Center. And basically what that means is that we're a fashion incubator. We're also an accelerator. We're kind of a design studio. We're actually offering classes. We have office space. We're seeing event space, so it's a little bit of everything. And our goal is to help somebody who wants to start a clothing brand by offering them all the resources that they need in one place. The main resources are the know-it for manufacturing and the help getting ready for manufacturing. So the sample making and tech packs and all the stuff that the industry requires in order for you to manufacture your clothing. And when you start a clothing brand, that stuff is pretty elusive. It's really hard to find. It's not really the kind of stuff that you learn in design school. You learn how to sew or patterns and things like that in design school or draw. But when you want to manufacture clothing, you're not the one sewing, and you're probably not drawing your pretty pictures. You're usually manufacturing, and that requires a whole different set of skills. And so we really focus on helping that apparel entrepreneur understand what it is that they need to know in order to get their stuff manufactured. And then they make it here, too. So there's actually a whole bunch of this building you probably aren't even seeing or maybe you've never been to before. And we have manufacturing, we have a design studio here, we have offices upstairs, we have a photo studio, we have hair and makeup salons, we have all kinds of things that support these designers here in this space. We're also a nonprofit, and that's how we do all of this. So the no minimum manufacturing is kind of key to all of this. And when you make small quantities as a factory, that's not a real money maker. So usually it's really hard to find a factory that's willing to make you 20 pieces or 100 pieces or something like that, because they don't make money until they're making thousands of the same thing. And so usually you have to start out by making thousands of the same thing overseas, and then you end up with excess inventory, and that is really sustainable, and that's kind of what's wrong in our industry right now. So in order to solve that problem, to disrupt industry, to reshore it, to redefine it, and do it in a more modern way, in a way that's more obtainable to apparel entrepreneurs, we had to do this in a very creative way. So we are a nonprofit because it's really the only way to be able to do something like this. To be able to manufacture small batches, lose money doing it, we actually generate income through donations and also by renting out an event space, which you're sitting in right now. So this is our income generator right here. And then we also contribute free discounted programs and services to the community, and that earns our stay here inside this building. This is actually a building owned by the city of Tempe. They let us use the building, and in exchange, we're providing all kinds of free discounted things for apparel entrepreneurs. So events like this that are educational, that can provide networking and things like that can grow your business, those are part of what we contribute. We also contribute a roadmap, which is a step-by-step instructional course that helps a designer go through everything that they need to go through, and we offer scholarships into that roadmap. We offer 200 scholarships every year. So you can avoid having to hire a production manager, having to hire a quality control manager, and still get through manufacturing. You don't even have to hire a branding expert or a business coach. It's all in the roadmap, so it's saving you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're scholarshiping 200 people into it. So your contributions help us do that, and this event space helps us do that. And over the time we've been here for 6 years, we've actually generated over $6.7 million in free and discounted programs and services that we've documented and reported to City Council. Thank you so much. It's because of the community. It's really awesome people that help us do this. You can see volunteers here tonight and helping us put this on. And that's a regular program here. So if you want to volunteer and help, always use more help. We've also helped over 800 apparel entrepreneurs start their business and grow their businesses here in Tempe. So to me, we're actually impacting the economy here. We're providing a new industry for our city. Even if you're not an apparel entrepreneur, you can become involved here by just becoming a free member. So if you just have an interest in fashion, you just like fashion, you just want to support it, and you don't necessarily need to manufacture clothing, you should become a free member. As a free member, there's all kinds of benefits. Even if you are an apparel entrepreneur, you're not ready to manufacture, the benefits will help you grow your business. So as a free member, you can be listed in our directory. So if you own a business and you want to put yourself in the directory, it's free. It's free advertising for your business. You can be a designer, a brand, you can be a model, a hairstylist, a makeup artist, a branding expert, a fashion show producer, a school, a cover store, a sewer. All of those people can be found in our directory. So you as the public can also use that directory to find everything that you need in fashion. So it's all under one place. And then we also have a classified. So if you're looking for a fashion job, you can find it in our job classifieds, and you can also post a fashion job there too. So if you want to be hiring, let us know, and we'll spread the word for you. We also have an events calendar that's free. So if you're looking for events to participate in or to attend, you can just go to one place on the internet and find all the local fashion events. And you can post your own events there too. So if you're putting together an event and you need to spread the word, just tell us and we'll add it to the event calendar. We also send out a business newsletter once a month, and it's called Hot Off the Press, H-A-U-T-E. So Hot Off the Press. And it's basically a whole bunch of information that you're going to need to know if you're in the fashion industry. So it's all the events we know about, so opportunities for you to participate or to attend. It's all of the business opportunities, the jobs, the news, anything that you think about your business. And feel free to share information with us that you would like to spread to the community as well. That's how we kind of keep everybody informed and connected. So along with that, all kinds of other free benefits as well. We have a free sourcing library here. If you're a designer, you need to find wholesale fabric suppliers. That's a really tough thing to do. Most of them don't have websites. They don't advertise to the public. You have to wait for the next LA textile show or New York textile show to be able to find your wholesale fabrics to get into this industry. Well, you don't. If you're here, all you have to do is come into our free sourcing library, and it's thousands and thousands of swatches from vendors that have smaller quantities, so that you don't have to be behind the mills at larger mills. All kinds of great resources. And then if you are starting your own business and you want to get into manufacturing, then you would up your membership from a free membership to an apparel entrepreneur membership, and that includes the roadmap. It includes all kinds of other things, but the roadmap is the big ticket, and it contains thousands of resources. I mean, it's literally, let's just say I downloaded my brain into this virtual online learning management software, and it's everything I've ever known for the last 25 years in this industry, and I'm just giving it all to you. All the documents and the contracts and the instructions and the videos and the classes and the step-by-step tools so that you would know how to get through business startup, through branding, through sample making and prototyping and tech packs, through manufacturing, through marketing, through events and fashion shows, and then through growing your brand into on-demand manufacturing. Because to us, that's the future of fashion, and we're doing it. Right down the street, my co-founder Sherry has created an on-demand factory that does on-demand custom print cut, sew, pack, ship direct to consumer. It's one of the only ones in the country that's doing this and allowing small brands to access that technology. So you start here, get everything prepared, and then you can go over there and you don't have to make thousands overseas somewhere. You can make it one time as your orders come in. You have them custom printed with your own designs. So that's what that roadmap is preparing for. Like I said, all of this is possible because of this event space right here. That's how we generate the income that we need to pay the staff to do everything that we do, to pay the maintenance on this building, and utilities, and all of the other expenses that come along with such a big undertaking that this place is. So spread the word about this event space, and we need as much help as we can get, because obviously the last 2 years it's been very difficult to rent event space. In fact, in 2020, this space was filled with 100 sewing machines, and we manufactured PPE to make 800,000 medical gowns that could be washed 100 times, keeping 80 million disposable gowns we built during the pandemic to help, protect our healthcare workers. So, we eventually needed to turn this back into an event space so we can generate income again, and we all help we can get to spread the word. This is where people have weddings, music festivals, corporate events, proms, obviously fashion shows, things like that. So if you need an event space, please think about it. It's much more affordable than other event spaces, and it includes tables and chairs and linens. We have lighting and sound and production equipment and live streaming capabilities and everything is still cheaper. So please spread the word. Another little bit of good news before we get started is we've done as much as we can to help designers and brands in almost a whole circular economy here in Arizona, doing almost everything. The one missing piece of the puzzle was retail. Now that's not missing anymore. So next month we're opening a retail store that's kind of a makerspace / retail store where designers and brands that make things that can be personalized or made on demand or customized in some way, that are making small batches locally are going to be sold in this space. And it's actually right down the street. It's like less than about a mile from here. And it's on the ground floor of a new apartment complex called Park Broadway on Broadway and Roosevelt in the new Makers District for Tempe. And so if you're a designer and you want to sell your stuff in there, let us know. There's actually an application online on our website. Everything I talk about is on our website. We have a really complex website with all kinds of stuff on it. So pretty much if you're looking for anything I talk about tonight, you can find it there. And if you're a patron and you'd like to support these designers and buy some of the cool stuff that's made here by awesome locals, then that's where you're going to do that. So pay attention to our newsletter because that's when we're going to announce the official opening. You'll be able to come shop. Again, all of this is possible because of your donations too. So if you feel like you'd like to contribute, we would love that. $5 helps us, every little bit counts. And we also have products in the back of the room that tonight at the end of the event, if you'd like to purchase anything, you can. There's things over there for $5. There's a company called Tourism that buys excess inventory from brands and things in LA. Instead of going to landfill, they actually take it, sell it for $5, and then they take the proceeds and donate it to different nonprofits, and we're one of those nonprofits. So you can actually contribute that way if you want to walk away with a gift for somebody or something for yourself. And then we have things that are made over there, and the scraps that are left over from our manufacturing as well. So if you'd like to buy something from our refabricate program, the proceeds go to our nonprofit that way as well too. So all kinds of great things back there. Also, at the end of the evening today, we have a whole bunch of stuff in the back there that some of you might be here for. We've had somebody contribute a bunch of vintage fabrics, and we're giving them away. So if anybody would like to take any of those vintage fabrics tonight, at the end of the evening, you're welcome to go through those boxes and take them with you and make some cool stuff out of it. We also have a bunch of jeans back there because we did an event last month for Eco Fashion Week called Refabricate, where we had a bunch of jeans that were donated from the community, and a bunch of designers upcycled them into new products, and we showed it in Eco Fashion Week. And there's some leftover jeans back there too, so you're welcome to take those too, so they don't have to go back to the mill, so you can circulate them back into the system. So at the end of the evening, don't forget about all of that. So the reason that we're all here tonight is because every month we offer this event called Behind the Scenes. And at Behind the Scenes, we like to use this opportunity to offer free education, free networking, free ability to get together and kind of learn a little bit about what's happening in the community, share more about each other, all kinds of reasons to get together and do this. And one of the things that I like to say is the perk of this is not only you get to learn from an expert and hear kind of like a little bit about what they do and learn something about what they do, but you also get to hear their journey. Because I think that's a really important part for people when they're getting into this industry, or even if you're already in this industry, it's just interesting to hear how somebody got to where they are. And if you're a student or you're just entering this industry and you're not really sure, like, how can I become this or that? Well, here's some stories on what it took to become this or that. And each month we feature different people, different professionals that are doing something different in the industry so that you can hear their story and you can learn from them as well. So that's the goal. This happens the last Thursday of every month, and it's free every time. We record these as well, and you can watch some past ones on our website as well. And so tonight we're going to meet a very special person to me. We're going to hear her journey, and we're going to learn all about what she does. And so before I would like to actually introduce Helen, I'm going to officially read her bio, because I think it's necessary to hear who this person is from their official bio before we get started. So, Helen Jane curates the fashion design collection at the Phoenix Art Museum. But her experience in industry goes far beyond the traditional walls of the museum. Trained in theatrical costume design as well as museum studies, Helen goes right into the world of curated fashion at Phoenix Art in 2007 as an assistant to the collection, and after 5 years and a dozen exhibits supported, life handed her new opportunities such as leading the fashion design program at the Art Institute of Phoenix and working in the costume shop at Arizona Opera. Now she's back at Phoenix Art Museum as the Jackie Dorrance Curator of Fashion Design, working to craft stories and exhibitions that illustrate how clothing connects us all to a web of unique culture and exquisite craft. So let's give Helen a round of applause before we start.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you for coming out. There's some really special friends in the audience tonight, so thank you so much for coming. It's really, really great to see you all. And thank you for inviting me. I'm so delighted to get to share how lucky I've been.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I know that you're so busy, and I've been thinking about inviting you for this for so long. I know that just recently you've been very busy, so I have to give you a little bit of time to spend to roll and before, getting you over here. So I'm so grateful that you're here. Helen and I have worked together, a bit in the past, so we go back a little bit, and it's just great to reconnect. So I'm excited to be able to help tell your story.
Yeah, we've overlapped in education and boards, fashion shows. See it everywhere.
Overlap. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is dive into how did all of this start? And I always love to hear who this person was before they are here today. So I always force everybody to go back and share some embarrassing photos of themselves from when they were kids. Those are the best, right? So first, I would like to ask you to tell us a little bit about your childhood and who was Helen, and get to move back.
Well, I grew up in the Midwest, Oklahoma, then Missouri, then Nebraska, finished college there and graduate school. But what you're seeing here on the left image, that's my maternal grandmother and my mom, and they're matching some of the outfits, which is really special and charming to me. And then the image to the right is myself and my oldest daughter in our matching outfits that I made for us. Which just, for me, was a really special way to have a moment like that. I mean, it's Midwest roots, so it's very much family. We have that everywhere, right? But that was my beginning. My maternal grandmother was incredibly stylish, and so that I think is really important to me early on.
Grandmothers always have a big role in it. I've learned this from a lot of different people. Grandmothers are really influential in a lot of ways. It seems like people in fashion a lot of times go with their grandmother, right? See a lot of heads die.
Well, and I have brooches and a lot of jewelry and some garments, and those are things that I didn't hold on to. Like, I kept some of them. Like, I sewed a lot of the brooches onto my denim jackets. The yoke with those. And then other things that I wear for a talisman. Like a little job interview. I'm always wearing my grandmother's necklaces. Those things of power. We all have things at home that's like, when you're having a bad day, you need extra power, or you need extra strength, or protection. There's a thing that you grab and maybe you pin it, you wear it, or something. But it's part of that dressing process, all part of how we present ourselves and think of ourselves. I think we have the dressing process is these talismans that we have, that we use to get us through. And so my grandmother's a big part of that.
You know what's so funny that you said that is part of my life too. My grandmother and I were really close, and I try and take a piece with her every time I do something public, like an event. This is her necklace. So every time you'll find something on my body that is my grandmother's, if I'm hosting an event, if I'm doing anything that has to do with anything public. So again, I looked at this and I was like, this is amazing. And close up there. Tell us about it.
Well, okay, so I was a dancer growing up, and I was a ballerina. But looking back at the videos, I was the dying chicken right on stage every time. But I didn't know it. I didn't know. And that was so beautiful because you get to wear skirts like that when you're a dancer. And the minute I put that on and I spun around, I was the most talented, graceful ballerina on the stage. But the reality is very, very different. But that didn't matter. It didn't matter an ounce to me because the minute you put, it's the transformative power of clothing. You put on a big skirt and it doesn't matter who you are walking different in that skirt because it's different. It's a different environment around your body and we move through spaces, we move through different spaces differently. And clothing is a space that we inhabit. So dance was a very formative part of the power of clothing for me. Now, one of the greatest, most embarrassing moments in my life, and those are always the best stories, was for dance. I really thought I was this beautiful ballerina, and so when I was a senior in high school, I'm still dancing all the way. I think I would have been a lot better after a decade dancing.
Wait. So when did you start?
Oh, 6, 7?
Okay, and dance all through high school?
All through high school.
Okay. You must have been amazing.
I was amazing. But I was participating in our high school senior production of Annie, and I was cast as Lily St. Regis. She's this silly character, she's just very, very funny. And I made my own costume, and I used one of my dance sweaters as a pattern. Well, I was using a stretchy sweater that I was cutting non-stretchy fabric. Right? See where we're headed? I made a wrap dress, and I made it close on one side. And we have this whole song and dance number, and it's our dress rehearsal, and we are in the school cafeteria in a school of all my high school peers and all of their parents on their VHS recorders. And we're doing a song and dance, and at the end of our number, my co-high school teacher picks me up, does the thing, and puts me down, and the safety pin releases. Just as I turn around for the big pizzazz at the end. And I would just flash the entire cafeteria of all of our high school parents. I mean, this is probably on people's home recordings somewhere, and now the whole internet is. But I didn't know the difference between stretchy and non-stretchy. And I guarantee you that was a lesson that I have never forgotten. And I've told this story sometimes to students along the way, and it really helps kind of sear that into people's memories. But again, it was inhabiting that costume. It's getting to put on this whole different image, a different persona. Sometimes when I put things on, I think maybe people will recognize me. I don't know. I feel so different in it. I think maybe I'm unrecognizable. It's a powerful thing. But I'm not going to include the close-up of my face because that's the reality. I mean, I'm terrified.
So, after you made your own costume, what back up a little bit? How did you know how to even begin to do that?
I did a lot of sewing at home with my mom and my grandmother, and I made dresses and garments home. I loved Goodwill. It was a prolific Goodwill shopper all through high school, and did a lot of just alterations to the garments to change them.
And who taught you?
Yeah, my mother. Yeah, my mother taught me how to sew. Yeah. Let me see.
Love that.
Alright, okay, so this is college. I'm sorry, maybe not a question or something. So this is college. I was very lucky. I got to go to attend Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri. It's the second oldest women's college in the country. One of the few remaining of those early women's colleges that's still actively educating students. So this is a shot of one of the studios. It's a wonderful fashion design program. It's a very small rural community. But it's great. And the image on the top right is one of my first mentors. It's Monica McMurray. Monica. And she is just amazing. She changed my life. She was the head of our program, and she had 5 children, and the youngest in diapers when I was in my senior year. And I will never forget the day in our senior tailoring class, the babysitter canceled on that day. So she showed up with a baby. So she had students to teach. There were 4 of us. We were very lucky. It was a very small class. And she's giving us a tailoring technique. The baby's going nuts. She grabs the baby, bottle over her chin, finishes pad stitching the collar, and I just died in the moment. Just that's the kind of woman I would be that's the kind of life I'm going to have. I'm not going to sacrifice. I'm not going to put down that baby. I'm not going to put down whatever. And I'm going to keep making my art. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep changing lives. I mean, it just, that moment did it for me. So I have to come out of this picture there. And then here in the center, we do, every fashion design program, we do a final scene collection. And mine, just like so many others, is not really based very much in reality. It's very theatrical. I was clearly inspired by Bustles. And so I was very fortunate that my instructors caught on to that and said, you really should check out the theater department. That's where they're going to understand what you're trying to make. Because we love it, but we don't know how to sell it. So then I got to, I connected with the theater department there at Stevens College, spent 2 summers at their summer stop, and that just switched something on for me. The speed of sewing and costume shop was so exciting. And it could sometimes be very scary because we were moving really fast with these high-powered machines. But it was so thrilling. And to be backstage and do all these quick changes was such an exciting moment. So that really flipped a switch for me to then start pursuing theatrical costume design.
What did you pick, Stevens?
They had a great fashion design program. We lived in Missouri at the time, so it was close enough to my parents, but far enough so they could just show up. When I went and toured and saw fashion design in laboratory, that was it. I didn't want to go home that day. I needed to be in the room. And we were very lucky. It was open 24 hours. We spent all night. I slept under those tables. I got to take my dog every day my senior year, and now they allow animals in the dorm rooms, and I think my dog Helen had something to do with that. But I wanted to know one last thing. In this bottom picture at the far left, that's Stephanie Beatrice. Anybody knows who that is? She's the lead voice in Encanto of Mirabelle. Yeah, she went to Stevens. Yeah, and she modeled in my senior collection, which was just so lovely. No, I requested actresses for my models because they could really deliver on the runway. So I was very lucky. She doesn't know me, but I got to get to say she was in the senior collection. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's very lovely. It's an amazing school.
That's amazing. I love that you told the story about her meeting her baby in school. When I was teaching at Mesa Community College, I couldn't find a babysitter for my daughter, who is in the audience somewhere around here. And when she was, oh, there she is, right back there. When she was, still being breastfed, actually, I brought her to school one day because, you have to still go. And I would just run into the bathroom to breastfeed her and then bring her back in the classroom and sit in a little chair and keep teaching and then run back. It was like right in the beginning. So every 15 minutes, I moved my students to go breastfeed my baby, but it was the same idea that's not going to hold me back. That's the thing that I think a lot of women face in their careers and any career is like, choice, but you don't necessarily have to make a choice. You can just all happen together. I mean, that's the world we should live in, right?
That was a great example for your students. That's some of
the time I was on right now.
I bet some of them are telling that same story to the station.
I'm sure they are.
You won't believe this teacher I had.
I also had her strapped to me hanging from, a sling while I'm teaching people, and it's so difficult.
But that's real life. If you don't expect that those things are going to happen right before your runway show is going to happen, then you're not prepared, right? You got to be ready. Having your whole life around you all the time that's just life. That's reality. What we got next? Okay, so this is the first show that I had ever costumed for theater. It was at the summer stop with Stevens College. It's called Dearly Departed. But I showed you this picture because it was the first time I'd ever gotten to do any hair extensions, and so we did them all on the illustrations you see on the left. It's the gentleman on the bottom right, and I still was very early in my theatrical training, and I had no hair training, no cosmetology training at all. So I went to the makeup kit box and I grabbed the liquid latex. And I put it in, and I took out a wig, and I bought a wig, and I took the wig part back in, and I liquid latex the wallet in this guy's hair. And he was great. He had pretty short hair, so it wasn't a disaster. But he went and just dove right into that hair character and didn't want to share for running the show, and then I was brushed it out at the end.
How long was the whole run of the show?
Just 2 weeks, very short.
Just 2 weeks.
It was fantastic.
You still telling that story too.
It's still telling that story. But it was, again, one of those moments where you go, oh yes, this is what I should be doing. This is, my skills are coming together here. And I've been really lucky. I've gotten to work in theater, I worked in retail. My very first job of all was at a dry cleaners when I was 16. And I learned things there that have helped me today. Every single job is valuable. Some of them were the most valuable because it was a boss that was really challenging. It taught me to be a better employee. They're all great experiences.
I love that. That's a really good point. And I'm sure that dry cleaning came in very handy, especially your current role today, just understanding textiles.
Absolutely. After college, I moved to Omaha, Nebraska to work at, this is the Rose Theater. It was a vaudevillian theater early on, it was a bowling alley in the 80s, and then it was refurbished back into a theater in the early 90s, and now it's a children's theater, so adult actors with shows for children. So I finished college and went straight to Omaha, Nebraska, and was the shop foreman here. So that means there was a designer and myself. And between the two of us, she designed everything and we were making everything. Because it was a children's theater, we giant animals and dragons and fun little characters and just all kinds of fantasy things that require a lot of internal engineering and structure.
So what specifically are you doing?
So my responsibility was to go in every morning, get the shop ready, open it up, turn on all the machines, and if we had fittings that day, the designer would do the fitting, I would take the notes, and then I would translate the notes and make alterations on the pattern, recut, get the next fitting prepared, and the designer would go for the next fitting. And then when we were finishing garments, it just was the two of us, and sometimes we'd hire other people in, and it was a lot of hands-on sewing meetings in it. Building everything by hand, and it's a great experience. Theater is a really wonderful place to learn sewing skills. So while I was in Omaha, I was working at the Rose Theater, but I took every opportunity to design a show, and some of them I did for free, or I would do because I would get costumes at the end, or I would say whatever's left over from the budget, that would be my pay, because these were tiny theaters. But for me, I was single, I was fresh out of college, I was living with my uncle, I could take the risk to take every opportunity to work every show. When I walked out of every show with a name for the next show I was going to go for, and a friend. I knew everyone on the production team because those were the people that I needed to know. And I learned so much every single time. So I spent a couple of years in Omaha, Nebraska, working for different theaters and got to do shows like this called Zombie Prom. It's a musical. It's really funny. And it's a high school guy who drives his motorcycle and accidentally crashes into an atomic factory, and he still gets to go to prom, but he's an atomic zombie by then. And so he had to glow in the dark, and so this is me. So I designed a show that I built the zombie, and so we put this fiber optic tube lighting behind this latex skeletal system that it was all stitched down to a leotard, so I like to always say that he was a ballerina underneath it all. And then we painted with different types of fluorescent paint that we collaborated with the lighting designer. He was using some specific black lights so that he could highlight different areas at different times. And then it also emitted light. And then this is him on stage. And then throughout the show, he had to continue to rot. And so we had different elements, like his guts started to come out of the pockets and things, and his wig changed. He had a pompadour in the beginning and a mohawk by the end. It was all rotted on both sides, so it was great.
That would have been so much fun to work on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So that was one of the ones where you had like volunteered your time.
No, this time I actually got paid for it. It's because I took every opportunity along the way and I proved myself. And I showed up, and I showed up with a good attitude. And every time I was finished with the costume, if there was something that needed to be done on set, I asked. If there was painting that needed to be done, I showed up for that. I made myself available, and I made myself needed.
How many years or maybe times, the other way, do you think you donated or volunteered your time before you ended up getting paid for what you did?
Well, I mean, it was more volunteering donating in high school and early college years. If we were like, oh, we want to put together our own fashion show, we were definitely doing that for free as a student. But in Omaha, I knew I would do it for, I was still getting paid in some way. It was very, very small. And for costumes or for a little bit left over from the budget. But I probably did that for the first 2 years that I was in Omaha because I had such great opportunities, and every single one got bigger and better and better. And I was creating a community of people that I could reach out to when I had a show and I needed to borrow things. I had people from the other theaters that I could reach out to and stay in budgets and deliver a great product.
I think that's really important for people to hear because, it's hard to know when you get out of school, like, what is this going to look like? What's my journey going to look like? And it is really important to take that opportunity, whether it's, internship, an unpaid internship, or a volunteer role or something to get your foot in the door, I think, or a minimum wage job or something like that, because it is a lot of times just who you know. I mean, and you know those people because you volunteered there, because you donated your time. And now they're the other person they think of when they really need to hire somebody or they need an expert, somebody that they really need. So I think it's really important for people to hear that. Because you also hear the other end where, a lot of times on social media and stuff, people are like, oh, you gotta get paid for what you do, and it's not fair, blah, blah, blah. But, that only happens once you're at a point where you've got some stuff in your belt to prove that, you should be getting paid for what you do. You need to get there first. So I think it's great to hear everybody's journey and how long they might have had to do that before, they were able to get a real job in that industry, a paid job.
Now, one other name that I want to mention is the costume designer at the Rose Theater there in Omaha, Nebraska. Her name is Sherry Burgess, and she was another key person in my development as a young professional, as a designer. She was the head designer of the costume shop there at the Rose Theater. She's been there, I think, already 20, 25 years. I joined, she's still there, and she just created such a welcoming and wonderful shop to work in. She let me bring my dog to work. It was really relaxed. We got things done, we got them done on time, but she was the type of boss that I want to continue to emulate. So it just was incredible. Oh, that's amazing. We got next. Oh, okay. So I spent time in Omaha working. I did my graduate work at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, transitioned into museum studies there. And my last summer, I was able to get a position at Santa Fe Opera in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And that had always been a big goal of mine. It was a place that my parents had romantic memories of in their early years, and it just was somewhere that for me was a big box to check. And so I was able to, after I finished graduate school, go to Santa Fe Opera. And while I was there, I stopped at the museum. The museum was hiring an assistant. And so that summer, I connected with the museum, sent my resume, showed up for interviews because I was coming to the Southwest, and again, just made myself available, I let them know that I'm coming to town, I've got a gig in Santa Fe, New Mexico, I'm going to come to Phoenix a week early and just hang out, just in case you have time for an interview, and made myself available, and was very fortunate to have the opportunity to connect with the museum during that time, and came in for an interview, and throughout the summer, more interviews online, but was able to, at the end of the summer, I had received an offer from the museum and transitioned on to Arizona at the end of that summer. So I began working, this is an Image of Phoenix Art Museum, and began working there as an assistant role, and I worked for 5 years on about a dozen different exhibitions and worked for an incredibly talented curator, Danita Sewell. Some of you probably know her at ASU, the fashion design program. But the first exhibition I did with her was, that she did, that I worked on, was graffiti art and fashion. I mean, just incredible, just a genius perspective on clothing and its commentary on our lives and our social structure. So let's take a look at the next slide. So now I'm back at the Art Museum. I spent 5 years working there in an assistant role, and then had the opportunity to join the Art Institute of Phoenix and teach. I joined Collins College for a while, taught, we overlapped there for a while. And then I also connected with Fitton College and worked as part of their speakers bureau. And each of these opportunities I overlapped with incredible instructors and amazingly talented students and wonderful colleagues that inspire students everywhere they go. And again, just people that inspire me to do more and be better and be kinder. And So in 2019, I was invited back to the museum, and it's the greatest honor in my life. This is my dream job. And so I get to work with this amazing collection. It was founded by Arizona Custom Institute in the 1950s, and has grown to over 9,000 pieces now. We have men's, women's, and children's late 18th century to the present, and it's a wonderful place to not only see the beautiful artistry, but to see the things that connect us all, these clothes, the buttons and the pockets that feel so familiar, and the textures and the patterns that we see in other cultures. It's just so inspiring.
So another overlap, when I first moved back here from Los Angeles in 2001, I would go to the museum and actually look at the exhibits, and Danita would put on an event called Salon Saturdays, where you could come in and actually learn directly from her, and she'd give a couple gloves on, pull out some pieces, and talk about, the bombing on this made this, and we would all learn and up close look at these pieces. It's really incredible, and to be able to meet other people who were interested in fashion, and we would all learn together and then network together, and then I contribute that to why this place exists today, is because I met all those people there, and eventually we all started to collaborate together and put on fashion shows and connect, and stay connected over 15 years and eventually open this place. So that museum and that collection there played a big role in my journey as well. And it's such an important collection for the United States. I mean, it's a huge collection. It's is it the second largest? Is that correct?
I don't think we're not the second largest, but for the high value pieces that we have, the stories that we're able to tell in the collection, it's one of the top in the I just think it's just so marvelous that we overlap these events at the museum, and what you've done and created all these connections that you have with the community. And I think that fashion gets a rap of being a really cutthroat, heartless place, and I'm just here to say, be nice. The people around you, they're nice. Everyone that I encounter are just lovely humans that are working hard to create beautiful things, and I get so frustrated when I see movies that paint fashion in such a light. Not everyone's like that. There's vacant people everywhere, in every industry. There are so many lovely, dedicated, hardworking people in fashion, in theater, and again, these different arenas of clothing that really did it with the heart. Because there's such a strong connection to each other with what we wear. And I think it's a really powerful thing. So I'm so grateful that I get to tell stories through these amazing objects.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit about the current exhibit.
So right now we have an exhibition of paper garments, 1966 to the present. And paper's kind of a misnomer. It's all kinds of materials. They're just not traditional fabric, but they're very paper-like, plastic-like. Some of them are kind of like Tyvek, some of them are kind of like dryer sheets. There was this experimental moment that happened in the late 1960s, and the bikini is getting the rest. And it's funny because everyone asks, well, not everyone, but very often people ask, well, did they really wear those in the water? And I have to say, no, because then you can't see them in the water. They're places to be seen. Wear a bikini like that. You want someone to see you. And you get to tell them it's a paper bikini, and it's such a cool moment. But again, it's not technology, it's about an industry, the chemical and paper industry, this non-traditional textiles playing in the arena of fashion. The colors are incredible, the prints are vibrant and crisp. We've got a couple different manufacturers, Mars of Asheville, Candy Wrappers, and a few others, James Sterling Paper Company. So in one gallery, we've got groupings by the manufacturers, and then in the gallery to the left, we've got the garments that are the real punchy, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Promotional. They're very promotional. So like the AT&T dress, the Campbell Soupers dress, the Viking Kitchen Appliances dress, the Butterfingers dress. So they're very just over the billboards. And that's what this was. It was a moment of experimentation with these textiles, but to promote the fact that these textiles exist, and oh boy, look what they can do. The performance features of this textile is incredible.
So who would be wearing these pieces?
Oh, you would.
Who was the intended wearer?
Actually, everyone. There were children's wear, there was men's wear. In the marketing on the different packages, some of them are clearly marketed to the young, twiggy type of high school, college student. But then there's the full-length maxi dress for the lady. I mean, it ran the gamut.
And where could you find those pieces back then?
Everywhere. The department store, the drugstore, Lord & Taylor's. You could get custom ones made. You could mail order. It started with a mail order campaign from Scott's Paper Company. But they're just so clever. The yellow one you can see here, you go back just one slide, sorry. It's called the Yellow Pages dress, and it's AT&T commissioned that from Mars of Asheville. And AT&T created the design, and it's actually Yellow Pages. It's incredible. And presented it to Mars of Asheville, and they printed it and manufactured it. If you notice, most of the dresses are very simple shape. They're cranking these out. Mars of Asheville is getting between 80 and 100,000 orders a week. Yeah, they were a lingerie company and they transitioned to paper dresses overnight because they just had to recalibrate their machines. Go to the next one. This is a knit paper dress. You heard me right, thank you. Knit paper. There you go. This is by Mars of Asheville. They didn't make very many because it was a nightmare to try to sell. It's not a rolled up tube, it's more like an extruded fiber, like the plating factory. Remember it comes out like spaghetti? And it's pre-dyed, so it's knit out of those two different colors. It's incredibly buoyant and spongy, it's in great condition. Most of everything you see in these galleries was donated by Helen. She purchased these things over many different decades, and then she would put them in the closet. She never opened them. We were the first ones to open most of these. Some of them have been opened, but most of them were in the original packaging. We're very lucky that she treated them with such care and with such reverence.
What was her original intention to when they give it to the museum?
Yes. Yeah, we're so very lucky to have Kelly's amazing support. She is constantly seeking out objects for the collection, sometimes geared towards the next edition, but sometimes it's just things that she knows has a very critical value in our history, our human experience, and wants it to be part of the stories that we can tell. We're incredibly lucky. So these are just some other shots of some of the textiles on view, because this is where I get really excited. I mean, in graduate school, the day they brought out microscopes, and I was wearing stilettos, like just microscopes and stilettos, I'm here, let's do this all day long. So these are some of the different textiles that are on view in the gallery. I mean, it gives you a sense of the different textures. So in the center, this is very much like a drag sheet. On the left, it has these vertical cords throughout, and that's what's adding strength to it. But the way that the material is dried has created this almost ruching gathering effect, so that it looks like a textile. And then on the wall on the far right is a tiger print, but if you can see within it, there's these fine hair lines that are going horizontally. Those are also fibers. Those are like kind of nylon yarn or rayon yarn, because that's adding strength to it, so you can't just rip. It's not as elusive and as simple as paper. I'm sorry, go back one more. Because on one of these things you would ask, one of the questions you would ask about awards and recognition, so to me, the award here is that I was invited by one of the people that I really admire, this amazing textile conservator named Margaret Ordonez. And she's like written the books, the textbooks on textile conservation, and she was really inspired by the textiles here. And so she's asked me to co-author an article. And so that to me is a huge thing. I'm so grateful to do that with her, and she's a legend in this field.
Congrats on that.
Oh, we're working on it right now. We're going to look at the different textiles and talk about them, and then the family that owned Mars and Asheville's company was making all these paper dresses. They're still alive, and so we're going to interview them and create some content and they'll tell us.
Okay, when that comes out, send it to us. We'll put it out on our newsletter, right? Everybody can see it.
Definitely. So the next project we're working on, paper dresses is up through December, and then over the new year, we'll be transitioning the gallery to a new exhibition. We're looking at the work of Jeffrey Bean. The exhibition is Being on the Move. So we had a collection of about 360 objects. And when I say objects, I mean we count left cuff, left shoe, right shoe, okay? Every belt, hat, everything gets its own number. So about 360 objects, a wardrobe from one client who had really sought out Jeffrey Bean over a few decades. And so this is a snapshot of that wardrobe. It arrived at the museum at the end of 2019, and so in 2020, when everything shut down, we decided the best way to celebrate this gift and share it with the public was to create a short documentary film about it, and we hosted a virtual event. So this is in the Great Hall of the museum. This is how we staged filming this beautiful wardrobe. We wanted to share the size of the wardrobe and the variety of things that she purchased. This is a wonderful gift by a woman named Patsy Tarr, and she sought out some of these key pieces, and then had a few customers saying.
When did you say this is coming out?
So this will open to the public on February 1st, 2023, which feels like next week. So this is some of the layers in the collection. It has this incredibly dense embroidery that goes across the shoulder. It's almost kind of a matador type of feel, and it is dense and lush. And there's ribbon embroidery, thread embroidery, beads and sequins, and these two different colorways of the same jacket. It's just gorgeous. Bolero.
That is Jeffrey Bean.
This is Jeffrey Bean. Jeffrey Bean, who you all know from men's cologne, gray flannel, or men's shirts, or neckties. This is Jeffrey Bean. This is the real Jeffrey Bean. This is the work that, this is his virtuoso work. It's just extraordinary.
So you started working on it now, and it's been taking you months. What is that? I didn't prepare you to answer this question, but I'm so curious about the day-to-day preparing these exhibits and what the work is like specifically.
Sure. So I spend a lot of time researching and a lot of time photographing. So one of the first things I needed to do was to get really high quality photographs of everything so that I know what we're working with. And Jeffrey Bean gets into details. So his buttons are wild. Every pocket, there's a whole different color inside the lining. The linings of the jackets are bright colors. And he'll do like a dotted taffeta lining in a stretch jacket. It's really interesting. So I do a lot of photography down in the vault to make sure I capture every image. And for 360 objects, I took about 2.5, 3 weeks of just cranking through it. And then there's a lot of time researching. I'm reading every catalog on Jeffrey Bean's life, finding everything he came online, and then we were very lucky to, when we produced that online Jeffrey Bean event, a woman reached out to me who is a historian and archivist that was working with the Jeffrey Bean collection of the things that came out of his office. So press kits and line sheets and runway shots and behind the scenes shots and all of the negatives and all the Polaroids that they were taking, pictures of parties and all these runway correspondence and invitations and everything.
She came to you, she heard this was happening.
So she found out about the event and let us know that they have the archive. And so I've been able to go and research in the archive, and then last year it was purchased by a different company, and so we've reached out to them, and they are very excited about our project, and so they're going to be lending a lot of this material to the exhibition. So we'll have contact sheets that show, the designer's notes on which image to use for the magazine, and all these great, a great look into how he built, how he designed, and what inspired him. And then on top of that, I've been very fortunate to connect with former business partners and assistants and models and dancers that work with Mr. Bean, and they're going to be sharing interviews about their experience so that they're the ones telling the story of what it was like to be in the fitting of Mr. Bean. One of the most amazing stories the other day, I'm speaking with Liz Lee. She's a longtime model for Jeffrey Bean, and she's telling me, to be in the fitting, and there could be, a box of flowers nearby, and just the next week, that color of the flower ended up in the embroidery of the jacket. He was inspired to just pull things in that was around, and just had such an elegant way of drawing all that inspiration into one object. And I just thought that was such a interesting collaborative experience to get to be in. And so I can't tell us where she was to us. I mean, I just told you guys,
So when it's time to figure out how the whole collection will be laid out within the space.
Okay, so once I know the objects that I'm working with, and I've done research and I know a bit more about the designer, it's crafting a story. And so the story here, Jeffrey Bean created these runway ballets in the mid-90s, and he worked with dancers, ballerinas, and choreographers to create these fully realized ballet productions that then they wore his collection. So that was the fall 1995 collection, was a fully staged ballet production. And so that's a large part of the story. So it's finding and teasing on that story. I mean, we can always have an exhibition on here. This is the history of Jeffrey Bean and his remade, but it's got to be engaging. It needs to really draw people in. So for our story, it's the ballerinas and that story of the runway ballet. So I have a round plan in the gallery, and we have different furniture that we use. We have round platforms, and round ones, and square ones, and rectangle ones. We have this amazing team of curators, and they can craft anything. Each of them are artists in their own way. And so together we come up, we've got this wonderful exhibition designer, Helen, that just joined us, and we work as a team to craft what is the space going to be, what's the experience. And if you've been lucky to get to go into any art museums around the country in the last couple of years, the last 5 years, fashion installations have really changed. They become far more engaging, theatrical, and I think relatable. I think museums have gotten around being dusty and old, and that's not it anymore. I think museums are really re-engaging with the community, and I mean, through our phones, there's so many great ways to really access material and access tours and be in the vaults and be, there in the space.
Do you end up sketching out your vision is of where everything is?
I do, yeah. So I very much have a vision of how I'd like the show to lay out, and I'll grab my colleagues and we'll go in the gallery and do walkthroughs and I'll try to, explain it. And then I like to go in and photograph the gallery and then print that out and then try to draw out what I'm seeing on that picture. That's very helpful. Lots of research images to help inspire everyone. But we have a lot of text, a lot of writing that we have to do. We want to be able to introduce the exhibition when people walk in and explain the stories they're going through, and then every object needs to have a label so you know what you're looking at. So being better at crafting smaller statements, that's what I'm working on right now. So that when you come through the exhibition, you can pause for a moment, and reason, move on to the next one. I feel kind of tension when people in the gallery are trying to read something and you feel their foot starting to tap because they're having to read for so long. And so that's my intention with this exhibition, by bringing in people to tell the story. People can listen and engage with the material differently. So
Literally more writing everything in here?
For the fashion ones, I mean, the curators do each of the collection. So, and then everything's translated into Spanish. So, we'll make sure we get it done in time for that. But it's a really exciting, it's a very similar theater. We've got a prep team that builds any materials we need to create the environment. For fashion, we've got costumes, we've got models, we've got forms, we have a story that we're telling, so the text that we write, that's our script. I mean, it's very similar in the elements that come to
Full circle,
yeah. That's a lot of work. Yes, it is a lot of work. But we have a great team, and it's a well-oiled machine.
That's so interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Behind the scenes kind of stuff that happens.
Well, and then when we pull the objects, we dress the mannequins sometimes down in the vault, because some things need padding or different layers. And we know dressing starts from the ground up, so those undergarments are really critical. So we have some mannequins that their bodies are already formed as if they're wearing a corset, and other mannequins work softer forms that we can add a corset. But if you're going to have a corset, it's because we want to see the corset in the museum, so we don't usually layer all those things. But being down in the vault and pulling objects and being aware of not having a belt and I ran down the vault, and I don't wear rings or bracelets, and no lotion, no perfumes, and being really mindful of how I use. I'm a hand talker, so I have to be really mindful of what I'm involved because I don't take up too much space. So then when it's time to change over the gallery, it's a really exciting 3 to 4 weeks usually for fashion. Things come down very quick, we address them, we put them in boxes, those go away, and then we pre-stage things for the next exhibition. Sometimes we dress in the vault, sometimes we dress up in the gallery. And it's an exciting couple weeks.
So it's basically inaccessible to the public for a couple of weeks.
Correct. We close off the gallery just so that we can protect the objects, and we don't want everyone to see everything, but we are starting to take some behind-the-scenes shots and show capture some of that time-lapse footage, which is so great. So we're starting to show those views to the public.
Have you ever had an idea and then kind of had to get it shot down a little bit because it wasn't possible, or that
we didn't work with some sort of rule or something like that? Well, the expensive ones. It's an amazing collection to work with, so we don't have to seek out material.
But I mean, just all the mannequins and the hair, all the props and building those things and stuff. There's probably got to be times where you're like, I want this to happen, but it's gonna break some sort of rule in the museum where it's gonna, at least not be in the budget or something like that.
Well, they wouldn't let me use a drone to do any filming when we were doing the Jeffrey film. That shot down earlier. So yeah, but we have to ask. There are certainly some rules of how we use the space and what we bring into the space that are just not negotiable. So the drones. Well, they're gonna be
Last question about that. I know I'm kind of going off a couple of the here because I'm so curious about behind the scenes of this. And I just think that it's so fascinating all the time that everyone goes into it and think, do you ever get freaked out that you might damage something?
Yes.
And you're talking about precautions and
Yeah.
What happens in that area? I'm sure there's insurance and stuff, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you get special training. I don't know. Tell us more about that. I'm so curious.
We always are very cautious and move very slow with the garments. I've been very fortunate I haven't had any catastrophes, but I mean, things happen, so eventually something I'm sure will happen. Okay, the first week that I was at the museum, the first time around in the assistant role, the first time that Danica entrusted me to vacuum garments, this isn't a secret story. I was down in the vault, and it was filled, populated with mannequins dressed. They had just come down off the exhibition. And so my job was to vacuum them before we undress them to capture any dust that's landed on them, because dust is like little bitty saws and saw through the fibers over time. And
What do you use a dust buster or something?
a vacuum, and we have a very special screen that we put over stuff so they can't lift up and slurp anything up into the vacuum cleaner. And then we will also put a stockinette, like a nylon stockinette, over the end of the vacuum tube to also prevent anything from going in. Very low suction, and then you have to manage, you've got a vacuum hose over your shoulder, and you've got a cord, and you've got guards, so you just be very, very careful. And I was moving very, very slow, and I turned to check something, the way that the cords around me, it just tipped one mannequin, and just slow motion fell into the mannequin in front of it, enough to just his forehead into the other one's chest, and then they held each other there. And I dropped everything, and we were just carefully lifted it back up, and everything was fine, but I made turn everything off, and went back to Nina, and she was so gracious about it. I mean, those things are always going to happen.
It's not a heart attack.
She did, absolutely did. She was a wonderful.
Oh gosh, that would be so stressful. All right, well, last question I'd like to ask everybody is, well, there's kind of two questions. First, I was asking, how are you connected to fabric? But I think we've kind of realized, over this is that we're connected, you and I. We've dealt with, a kind of parallel career, and not in the same way, but, we keep crossing paths in different ways. So I'm going to ask that question, but I always ask everybody, when do you think role in the ecosystem here in the fashion industry in Arizona or beyond Arizona, and what do you think of that? Because I'd like to hear everybody's opinion.
Sure, I think it's so valuable for people to be able to see that manufacturing is achievable. This isn't such an impossibility. I think it's been billed as you have to be on the line, you have to be on it. I mean, you did it. And so I think for people to see that you can craft the infrastructure that you need to reach your vision, you can craft it. So I think that's so valuable for our community and our young designers to see. And I think the way that you've created this multi-purpose space, every time I come in here, it's different. The last time I was in here, there were 400 sewing machines, and then the time before that, there was a runway. I mean, it creates so much great energy and so much positive momentum for the valley. I'm delighted for what you're doing.
I always like to get a perspective from each person in the industry that's doing something different to see just what their opinion is on this space and how it affects them or what they think it affects the rest of the industry. So thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I think it's critical we're not shipping all of our talent to LA all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Let's bring them here and let's keep them here. And bring them here.
Yeah. So I guess just one last thing I want to say, I just want to acknowledge some of the people that are in the audience when I first showed up. I mean, these represent important moments in my journey. We've got fellow educators that inspired me by the incredible classes that they created and the way that they inspired students. We've got students here that are forging their own path and doing their own things, opening their own shop, and having newspaper articles about them, talking about their success, and producing fashion shows, and colleagues that are inspiring students still today in the high school and in the classroom. I mean, we're so connected, and it's such a small community here in Arizona. It really is, and I'm just really grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunities that I have along the way, and thank you for the chance to get to share it. And please come to the art museum. Please come and see where fashion connects us all, and I'd be so grateful to see you there. I'm happy to give you a tour.
And don't you guys do, is it weekly or bi-weekly? I know ACI does that, but isn't there like a free day or something like that?
I hope we agree to do that soon. That was our free family Sundays. So that was right before I joined. I know we've got our Wednesdays where a little bit longer and it's free on Wednesdays. Our first Fridays were a bit longer and it's free those evenings. And we have a wonderful exhibit right now of lowriders. There's a lowrider coming on at our main gallery. So I mean, the exhibitions are they're so exciting.
And we always share the ACI network that they do a social, where you can actually go and mingle with the ACI members and then go see the exhibits. So that's always nice.
We're so lucky to have ACI. Again, ACI founded the collection. They are such an influential and important community that supports the museum. They buy new garments, they support the openings, they host parties, they bring in speakers and host lectures. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it without ACI members. It's such a, ACI is everything for the collection. So yeah, it's amazing. And it's a fun group too. I mean, they love to get out and celebrate fashion, right? And it's also lovely people. So ACI has been holding regular Wednesday, once a month Wednesday evenings at the cafe to invite people to just come out and meet each other. Sometimes we include a tour. So lots of opportunities there. Yeah. And so please join if you are at all interested. You can hop on the museum website and find out.
Yeah, sure. And speaking of who's in the audience and things, one thing that we like to do at these behind the scenes is give people who do have their own brand and are apparel entrepreneurs the chance to introduce themselves to the audience to spread the word about what they do. So, is anybody in the audience an apparel entrepreneur? If you are, raise your hand. If you are with fabric, an apparel entrepreneur, put it up really high. Okay, so if you guys would like to just stand up really quickly and introduce your business and what it's called and where we can find you in a sentence about what it is, we'd love to hear it. If you want to start.
My name is Candace Gonzalez, and Helen was my instructor at the Art Institute of Phoenix. I opened up my own bridal boutique central, a little bit north of Baseline. It's called House of Red Rose. I sell wedding gowns off the rack, and I do specialize in custom gowns that
it was transformational in terms of thinking about creating my designer brand, which is Hazel Fun. And I became a member of the team, which I wouldn't have otherwise. Awesome. So my design, my other brand is Hemp Blue, and it's sustainable denim jackets and shirts made from hemp fiber.
So great. I'm so glad that the radio is very inspired. That was
Sorry, it was hard to hear. Do you mind?
Oh, yeah, here, you know, you mic.
I was just mentioning that there was an exhibit at the Art Museum last year about 3D. Is that Curator? Okay. And I wasn't familiar with the designer, but it was really transformational with kind of the vision I have for my design brand, Hazel Fun. Very motivational for women's rights and freedom in clothing in the 60s. It was an incredible exhibit. And my design brand is Hemp Blue, which is a sustainable denim jackets and shirts made from hemp fiber.
And then for our folks at home, the other speaker was Candice Gonzalez, and she has a House of Primrose in South Phoenix.
Perfect. Okay, and then over here. Here, we'll give you one, just so we can hear.
My name is Candy Scott, and I create a sustainably made line of futurism and outerwear that's based on psychedelic and space-bound aesthetics. And I'm actually going to take that opportunity and be one of the wear designers. So you'll find my line involving other designers as well. I do have, in the 1990s, actually in a tiny vintage thrift shop, I was lucky enough to find a packet of one of those vintage paper cases, and I wore it to school, and it lasted one season, but I loved it. So I'm a big fan of the Phoenix Art Museum and everything you guys do there. Thank you so much.
Oh, I have so many questions. What did it feel like to wear it?
It was scary because we know the climate's a lot different. It's raining. We don't know if it's going to rain or if it's going to snow. So it was thrilling, and it was also not a lot of people in that time. They kind of looked at me kind of weird, but it was also really exciting. I felt like Twiggy, and it was fascinating, awesome. It was really sad when it dispersed into pieces, but
What a big experience.
thank you.
Thank you. And actually, Kenny's a tenant here. She's an office here as well.
Yes.
So,
Pop in and say hi anytime.
and I'm putting you on a spot because even though you don't consider yourself a pro entrepreneur, you're a I know.
Hi, I'm Heather Simone, and I have a brand called Lavendale, and I'm also a tenant here at Fabric. We have a big warehouse space down in the basement. We have a little showroom we created. We are a jewelry brand, and we use vintage plastics. We cleaned out a warehouse of old jewelry components that were made between the early 60s and the early 1980s. So we make contemporary jewelry, but with old plastics. She's very excited.
I'm very excited actually. We're these cool spiky earrings are personal. And I heard something first.
I like those when I came in tonight.
I know. And then the last thing I want to say is that I think I mentioned this happens every month. So next month, make sure you join us June 30th, and our next guest is going to be an apparel entrepreneur named Angela Zadrali. She started a clothing brand called Live Tall, and so it's tall women's clothing. She started here, I don't want to say like a year and a half ago or something, maybe more, and has gone through everything through Fabric, and now has this brand that's doing really well, and beautiful, very long dresses. And so you'll learn her journey from retail into becoming a clothing designer. So be sure that you join us for that and hear her whole experience. And
Before you close, I just want to acknowledge the whole time that I've known Angela, she's always hustled to connect people. That's all I've always been so impressed by that. I've been so generous to always connect people, reach out, find out what's going on. I don't know how you keep your finger on the pulse of everything that's happening, but that's been such a wonder. You've built such a wonderful community around you, and it's developed into this. But I mean, that's the way to be. Be nice. It's a mean world. Be nice.
So true, and fashion isn't mean like they show in movies, like you said, it's just a bunch of nice people involved in it, and that's the reason our experience. So, I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you so much. All right, so last thing, let's give Helen a huge round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing that, and peering into your world. It's so interesting, and, picking your brain and all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you guys for coming out tonight.
And now, you guys, feel free to shop. Feel free to go through that vintage fabric in the back, take whatever you want, take some jeans. Maybe get rid of some of that stuff or some really cool stuff out there, turn it into something cooler, and help yourself, and make sure that you take a photo into the refabricate wall, add a scrap to the refabricate wall. It's our statement about sustainability, and it's our Instagram backdrop, so participate in that before you leave. If you